Good evening, everybody. Without the Super Bowl to distract the American public, the Biden White House is the subject of intensifying criticism and attacks from even the Marxist-Dem national media. And Joe Biden is the subject of disdain and despair. His Secretary of DHS, Alejandro Mayorkas, in a losing argument really with himself, told the Sunday talk show host that he and Joe Biden are not responsible for the broken border that they've refused to defend or the millions of illegals who've entered the country over the past 3 years. At the same time, he acknowledged the administration terminated the Remain in Mexico policy put in place by President Trump. The self-contradictory Homeland Security head, who consistently lied to Congress, insists the border was secure when millions of illegal immigrants were pouring over that border into the United States, and he now faces a second impeachment vote as soon as tomorrow. Joe Biden is lashing out at the damning special counsel report on his taking of, retention of, and sharing of top secret documents, and finding of senility and disqualifying cognitive impairment all the while. In a report that is gravely endangering his presidency, just hours after that report was released last week, President Biden's inner circle, the very people tasked with defending him, decided to turn Biden loose to the media. It turned out to be leading a lamb to the slaughter. They allowed Biden, who has the fewest press conferences of any modern president, to take questions far past his bedtime. And as if under orders from above, the Democrat Party's media mob quickly savaged the hapless Biden.
Mr. President, for months when you were asked about your age, you would respond with the words, "Watch me." Many American people have been watching, and they have expressed concerns about your age.
That is your judgment. That is your judgment. That is not the judgment of the press.
They express concerns about your mental acuity. They say that you are too old. Mr. President, in December, you told me that you believe there are many other Democrats who could defeat Donald Trump. So why does it have to be you now? What is your answer to that question?
Because I'm the most qualified person in this country to be President of the United States and finish the job I started.
So why would his own staff do this to the man? Why would they have knowingly exposed Biden for who he is? The only logical answer is that the Marxist Democrats who are behind Biden's presidency have decided they've had enough. They see the dwindling poll numbers and the increasing threat that Donald Trump poses to their reign. So they finally put the word out to the left. Joe Biden is now fair game. Even the liberal New York Times turning on President Biden. The paper published a column last week entitled, "The question is not if Biden should step aside, it's how." Quote, Joe Biden should not be running for re-election, the piece states, saying that things have worked okay throughout this stage of Biden's decline, though it's very different from betting that they can continue working out okay for almost 5 long further years. The author of the piece, Ross Douthat, goes on to say Biden should withdraw from the race at the Democratic National Convention and allow party delegates to choose his replacement. It turns out those delegates are choosing Biden. The vice president is not unduly upset by all of this. In fact, she's publicly offering herself up for elevation to a far higher posting. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Harris declared her readiness, not eagerness, her readiness to serve amid voter questions about Biden's advancing age. She said, quote, "I am ready to serve. There's no question about that," Harris responded bluntly. "Everyone who sees her on the job," Harris said, "walks away fully aware of my capacity to lead." She, like the rest of the Marxist Democrats, is publicly planning the line of succession. The remaining staffers still loyal to Biden in the White House are doing everything they can, it seems, to make Biden more relatable to voters. But it's not going to work, and it's not going well. Voters know, for example, that it's not Biden actually running his own social media accounts. The president posted, are you ready, this creepy photo on X after yesterday's Super Bowl, playing on internet rumors that the federal government helped manufacture a script to determine the outcome of the game's winner. It's obviously a pathetic attempt to appeal to young voters. The post was made close to 11 p.m. at night, far past the time Biden is usually tucked safely into bed. And where are Republicans in all of this? The party seemingly nowhere to be found in a moment in which Biden has never been weaker. Biden's faculties, diminishing faculties, could single-handedly deliver Donald Trump the election. So what are the Republicans doing to help make that happen? Earlier today on my podcast, The Great America Show, I talked with Steve Bannon about this very issue. He called for Republicans in Congress to hold hearings now on special counsel Robert Hur's report.
Hur gave us an indictment of Joe Biden, and not just for the classified documents, which is incredibly disturbing and quite profound, because he knew Garland would never approve a actual formal indictment. He gave us the indictment document. The Comer and Jordan on Monday, and I think they ought to call the House back over the weekend. Johnson should. On Monday, there should be a formal hearing, and Robert Hur should be before the nation to walk through in depth over a couple of days exactly what his investigation found in detail, and the ghostwriter should be there too to see what he deleted a number of tapes. We ought to get to the bottom of all that. Justice Department officials ought to be called. We ought to know what's not in the report, what's been redacted. We ought to call the intelligence community, find out about this. This should be a week's hearing with Comer and Jordan to get to the bottom of this in front of the American people, nothing behind closed doors.
Not behind closed doors and in full view of the public. This is now in the court of public opinion, not a legal court and not likely to be. And of course, Bannon is absolutely correct. Republicans must take the issue to the voters, and they should do it now. And the longer they wait, the more they allow the Democrat Party and the media to set the narrative rather than the Republicans on Biden's rapid decline. Coming up here next, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin rushed to the hospital again. He's in critical care unit. The question is he fit to run the nation's military still? We'll be talking about that and about the state of our military with Doug McGregor. He joins us next. Plus, the Super Bowl wasn't without woke politics, and we'll show you the worst moments. We'll be talking with Laura Loomer here straight ahead.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The MyPillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, MyPillow 2.0. When I invented MyPillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. MyPillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. MyPillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of MyPillow.
Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
MyPillow.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow. Towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept. I'm interrupting this commercial to let you know you can get our 6-piece My Towels, regular $69.98, now only $29.98. Or you can save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels, made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Also, we have bath sheets, bath towels, washcloths, hand towels, and so much more. And the best part, with your promo code, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all My Towels. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin continues to suffer from serious health concerns. Sunday, Austin checked into the Walter Reed Medical Center after experiencing a, quote, emergent bladder issue. What does that mean? We don't know. There aren't many details available nor being disclosed. But the man charged with presiding over the U.S. Armed Forces has not been transparent with the public or his colleagues about his health. As you probably remember, Austin was recently hospitalized over complications resulting from surgery for prostate cancer. In that case, Austin failed to notify both senior Biden administration officials and the president himself. Austin is expected to make a full recovery from prostate cancer, and we, of course, wish the very best for the Defense Secretary's health. And Americans right now are left to wonder whether the Biden administration is right now up to the task of national security during such tumultuous times as these. The war in Gaza seems to be spiraling out of control. 3 American families just bid loved ones farewell following deadly strikes that killed U.S. troops at a base in Jordan. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, there are warning signs that our entanglement overseas is opening us up to attack here at home. The FBI reportedly warning of that at a National Sheriff's Association conference last week. Sheriff Richard Jones of Ohio said law enforcement was warned by the FBI about people who, quote, come to this country who hate us and want to kill us. That seems like a reasonable warning, doesn't it? Now is a time for strength, something absent from this administration altogether. Joining us now is Colonel Doug McGregor. He's a decorated combat veteran, former advisor to the Secretary of Defense in the Trump administration. And Colonel, great to have you with us. The Secretary of Defense having to be rushed to the hospital once again, Lloyd Austin having to, of course, turn over his authority to his deputy. Your thoughts this evening?
Well, I certainly wish the man well. It sounds to me as though it's probably a little more serious than the administration is telling us. I can't imagine why he would be effectively in intensive care if it were not more serious, but Kathleen Hicks has worked in the building off and on for many years. I'm sure she'll do what she has to do to hold her end up, as they say.
Right. It's troubling that he has to go through this. Your heart goes out to anyone who has to go through what he is going through. And I want to turn now to the politics of the matter. This is administration that, when it is not, deserving itself or the American people, it seems to be running into calamity after calamity. Nothing seems to be going right for this administration. And let's start with Middle East policy. These are the same people who said everything was terrific, and the next thing you know, the October 7th massacre occurred. And all hell has broken loose. You're thinking about the administration and the policies it's formulating and following.
Well, I was listening this morning to some remarks from the president. I don't know where he was, but he said he was starting a nationwide speaking tour, and he planned to visit all 13 states. So I think that about sums up where we are with President Biden. I don't think he's really in charge. Whatever he says is irrelevant. And so this particular administration seems to be on autopilot. The one person who is very definitely in charge is Mr. Netanyahu. And I think he commands the support of Congress above all else. and has effectively a blank check as a result. This, I think, is a disaster for us because while we are certainly pro-Israel, want to see Israel survive, we didn't sign up for a campaign of mass murder and expulsion from Gaza, nor did we contemplate actions from Mr. Netanyahu that would do something that no one's been able to do in the last 1,000 years, and that's to effectively unite all of Islam against Israel and now the United States.
Do you think that he has really united all of Islam or the Arab states? Because they seem to me to be at once wary of the Palestinians and, of course, no fans of Israel, without question. But there seems to be a great divide amongst the Arab states. You're thinking as to why you think they're united and what would be the result of their unification if it were so.
Well, if you look at Egypt and you look at Jordan, for instance, both of those governments absolutely do not want a war. There's no question about it.
Right.
General Sisi in Egypt has tried very hard to cultivate good relations with us. We, in turn, have tried to bribe him into supporting effectively whatever we want and whatever the Israelis want to do. I think you have a somewhat similar situation with King Abdullah in Jordan. The problem is for both of them and for all of the Arabs in the peninsula right now, the Arab elites that is that their populations are enraged, Lou. The populations don't understand why, with all the money, power, and influence that the Arab states have, their governments thus far have done nothing. Now, that's just the Arab states. On the periphery, you have two other major players. One is, of course, is Iran, about which we hear all the time. Iran has, however, really exerted tremendous restraint. Iran has been provoked by us repeatedly over several years, but it too doesn't want a war. And then finally, you have Turkey under Mr. Erdogan. Mr. Erdogan's rhetoric has been by far the most bloodthirsty, aggressive, and hostile towards Israel of anybody in the region, but thus far he too is held back. I just don't know how long any of these states can hold back, Lou. The populations want action. They are murdering hundreds of thousands of people. People are starving, and the Israelis are seen as getting away with it because of us.
How would one assume that it was the Israelis starving them when it's the wealthy Arab states and the Islamic states of Iran and Egypt, and by the way, Turkey, who should be providing for them under the idea that the Palestinians are just peace-loving people who want nothing more than a future bright and prosperous. Yet they attack and massacre Israelis wantonly on October 7th, and Hamas is cheered by that same Arab street that, as you know as well as I know, is at the very best a low information, low education group of people who I don't think it's been proved are very, let's say, acute when it comes to setting policy for the Arab region.
Well, I think there are a couple of things at work here. First of all, if you're a Palestinian, you look back on the last 70 years of oppression, exploitation, and brutality meted out to you, not only by the Israelis, but by the European powers, especially the British and the French, and to a lesser extent us, simply because we support it. So they don't regard history as having begun with the 7th of October. And remember that just 2 weeks before the 7th of October, a group of Israelis violated the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is considered the third holiest site in Islam, Jerusalem. They went into the place and essentially declared it theirs and it part of their territory and said they were going to expel everyone in it. This enraged Muslims from Indonesia all the way to Morocco. So I don't think the Palestinians necessarily see it that way. They also saw that the so-called fat, corrupt elites, as the Arabs call them, in places like Saudi Arabia were prepared to sell them out to the Israelis. They decided they weren't going to put up with that. And so these ostensibly backward people launched one of the most successful offensives against the Israelis that I think we've ever seen, doing enormous damage. Now, a lot of what was claimed initially in terms of the sexual crimes and so forth have turned out to be questionable. But setting that aside, from the standpoint of the rest of the Arab world, they certainly expected the Israelis to take some form of revenge. But what has happened is that the Israelis, instead of simply taking what they considered to be the opportunity for an object lesson, have now decided to eradicate Arabs completely from the boundaries of Israel. And that is something that I don't think anyone in the Arab world will accept. So if you turn to Egypt, which already has 100 million people, the notion that they should now accept all of these Palestinians and take custody of them when they have no facilities to do so and no money to do so, that's out of the question. And more important for all of the Arabs, they understand very well, if these people leave their lands, they will have lost those lands and they won't get them back. So we're right now in a halfway house between what I would call phony war on the Arab side or the Muslim side and real war. And I think by April and May, you will see this alliance of Muslim states coalesce. And I think it's going to be very, very dangerous. It'll be something we have not seen in 1,000 years.
I would say to you that, first of all, Hamas was selected by the population of Gaza. They are their chosen leaders by 90%, as you well know. And the massacre of Israelis, the attack on Israel on October 7th can't be dismissed with a history lesson. It can't also be rationalized with grievances from whatever you would like to call it, 70 years, 100 years, it doesn't matter. The reality is that there is no solution at this point that doesn't require the leadership of, in my opinion, Bibi Netanyahu, and I think he is responding exactly as he should. You imply that you would like to see a proportionate response to a massacre of 1,300 Israelis that's proportionate. I think that Bibi Netanyahu is a leader without compare right now on the world stage, because he is saying not proportionate, not retaliatory. He means to absolutely remove Hamas from Gaza. And I don't think there's any way in the world that a world leader in his position could claim rationally any other course. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm not the sort of person as an American who is normally comfortable with the decision of any head of state to effectively categorize people living within the boundaries of the country as animals who effectively deserve to be exterminated. I understand the goal.
I think you're confusing Hamas. I think you're confusing Hamas.
No, I'm not.
And the Israelis.
It
is Hamas that wants to eradicate Israel. So I don't understand your point. Would you insist that a two-state solution be the?
There is no two-state solution. That is dead. The two-state solution is dead.
You're exactly right.
So you're going to.
But that is the solution being pushed by this administration. That is the solution being pushed by this administration, Colonel.
Well, that may be this administration's solution, but it's dead.
Well, yes, it is dead. And it's dead because Netanyahu has made it very clear there will be consequences for attacking Israel.
Well, there should be consequences for quote-unquote attacking Israel, but I don't think mass murder and expulsion from Gaza involving 2.1 to 2.2 million people is justified. And I think it is a war crime.
I don't think that's their purpose, nor do I think that's the result, Colonel. I mean, I don't know where you get your numbers. They're not eradicated.
Well, what I get my numbers from is that I'm watching what's happening and I'm looking at the reports that come in right now, and you have 500,000 people who are starving to death, are beginning to develop diseases that are fatal because there is no clean water to drink, people that cannot be fed. And this is not accidental.
Where is the United Nations? Colonel, where is the United Nations? Where is the United Nations?
United Nations, when it does something we like, we say it's great, and when it acts in ways we don't like, we say it's poor. But the truth is,
you will never hear me say, Colonel, you will never hear me say the United Nations is great. The United Nations is a pathetic architecture that has created just an enormous, grotesque fossil of an organization. Its use and its value long since past if it ever arrived. No, I don't support the United Nations. I support rationality. And in politics, I believe Bibi Netanyahu is the only one there with the courage and the mind to understand what is at stake for all Israelis and the state of Israel. And I don't think in any way that what the Egypt is doing, or Jordan, or any of the Arab states or Muslim states, including Iran, which is sponsoring Hamas, Hezbollah, and militias from Iraq to Syria. I mean, this is madness to suggest that Iran is a beneficent and calm and unaggressive passive power in the Middle East, as you intimate. I can't even imagine where you would conjure up such a thing.
Well, I don't recall that I am on record as describing anyone in the region, anyone, including Israel or its neighbors, as necessarily passive. Mm-hmm. What I have said is that very straightforward manner that what Mr. Netanyahu is doing in Gaza is not going to pass without resistance. There will be a price paid for this.
Well, resistance. They've already been.
May I speak?
I mean, what would you have him do? What would you have him do? Of course you may. But what would you have him do?
I would stop murdering women and children in both Gaza and also people in the West Bank. The Israeli jails.
Shouldn't you have canceled Hamas first before October 7th then?
The Israelis.
This is not a choosing of Bibi Netanyahu or the Israelis.
Lou, Mr. Netanyahu was instrumental in setting up Hamas. Mr. Netanyahu funded it. Hamas did not emerge in a vacuum. He has said that. The Israelis know that.
Yeah.
And now you are trying to say that Hamas is somehow or another springing up from nowhere? Absolutely not. And again, history does matter.
I didn't say that. I said that it is spawned and supported and sponsored by Iran without equivocation.
Not just Iran.
Is Hamas.
Not just Iran.
I know, but primarily Iran.
Well, Iran has an interest.
And the billionaires who run it seem to. I don't understand why the billionaires who run Hamas aren't spending their money on care and the feeding and the health of those Palestinians that you describe, and in some cases correctly, as in being in desperate times. But why don't they do that?
Lou,
why don't they do that,
to send aid and support to the Muslim Arabs and Christian Arabs that are living in Gaza can't get the aid in because the Israelis won't permit it.
Oh, surely the heads of Hamas could manage it. Surely they could.
Well, the heads of Hamas have done all they can to kill as many Israelis as possible that have been attacking the Gaza Strip, but they do not have tanks and aircraft.
Therein lies the rub, as they say. Yeah, therein lies the rub.
Well, I guess they don't have the power.
Yeah, they don't have the power. They have the billions, and billions equals power. And they have enough power to attack Israelis, then they don't have enough power to save Palestinians. There's something awfully wrong here.
We will see what happens over the months that lie ahead, and I would not exclude the possibility that you and others in the West will be surprised at what happens by April and May. Mm-hmm. Because the other Arab and other Muslim states, Turkish and Persian, are not going to sit quietly and allow these people to be murdered and destroyed. It's a mistake for Mr. Netanyahu and this administration to think that that will happen.
They won't do anything, I'm satisfied. They being the Arab states, the Muslim states, but particularly Iran. They won't do anything that is not in their interests, and I don't believe it'll be in their interests to gin up the Arab street, as certainly not the Palestinians. And Sisi, as you mentioned in Egypt, he has made it very clear. He will not be taking in Palestinians because he fears them as much as he fears Hamas itself.
But
Colonel, you get the last word here because we've had an interesting conversation, and I want to hear your concluding thoughts.
Grateful. General Sisi
You're more
has
than
made it clear
welcome to do so.
That if the Israelis move into the Philadelphia corridor, if they penetrate Rafah, that Egypt will consider it an act of war. General Sisi knows he must act because if he doesn't, he will be removed from power, as will the people in Jordan and other Arab states. That's where we are right now. And Iraq and Syria are both insisting that we get out. And if we stay there, we will lose far more than 3 soldiers.
Right. Well, the three soldiers that we lost and the hundreds who've been wounded while they have been posted in Iraq and Syria and, yes, Jordan, is the fault of the leadership of this administration. It's sheer madness to have them so vulnerable without forced security, as Colonel, I know you would insist at any time with your troops under your command. It would be madness for any responsible commander to put them in the position that this administration has, without protection, with a utterly phantom purpose and mission. The ignorance of this administration is not to be brought down around the ears of Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi Netanyahu is the man, I think, who is standing tall and strong and appropriately responding to the threat of against his nation. I appreciate it, and I hope you'll come back and we continue the, we'll call it a discussion, not an argument, anytime. I appreciate it, Colonel. Colonel Doug McGregor. And a programming reminder for all of you, join us each and every day for my podcast, 7 days a week. The podcast is the Great America Show podcast, available at all of the major podcast platforms, LouDobbs.com, Apple, Spotify, iHeart. Get your podcasts wherever you get them. Please add ours to them. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back! The My Pillow guy!
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your My Pillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
MyPillow.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from My Pillow. Towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept. I'm interrupting this commercial to let you know you can get our 6-piece My Towels, regular $69.98, now only $29.98. Or you can save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels, made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Also, we have bath sheets, bath towels, washcloths, hand towels, and so much more. And the best part, with your promo code, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all My Towels. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Well, I'm thrilled now to welcome Laura Loomer to the show, investigative journalist, intrepidly so, the host of Loomer Unleashed, and she joins us now. First of all, I want to say thank you for being on your show, and welcome to this show, Laura. We appreciate it, and as everybody on the show knows, I'm a big fan of yours. I want to turn to your Twitter. You really went after Travis Kelce because of his tantrums on the sidelines and actually jostling his head coach. Your thoughts about, in reflection now, your thoughts about Kelce and what his actions meant?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Lou. The thing is I'm not a football fan, right? But what I am deeply troubled by in our society today is the way that the media and even now the NFL, they're trying to put athletes and pop stars, people like Travis Kelce and his girlfriend Taylor Swift, on a pedestal for the youth of America. These are supposed to be their idols or their role models. And when we look at the way that our society has decayed, especially as it relates to what people find to be morally acceptable. Is it any wonder why we're witnessing just so many youth go down the wrong path in this country when they're told to idolize somebody like a Travis Kelce, who physically assaulted? If you look at the video, I'm not the only person saying this too. It caused quite an uproar last night during the Super Bowl when he put his hands and really just got in the face of his head coach. It's really inappropriate behavior. And then, of course, we see Taylor Swift chugging a beer and the NFL calling it an iconic moment. You have to remember that the average age of her audience, or her fan base, is about 14 to 15 years old. And so I think that what I would like to see, I would like to see these celebrities and athletes just be a little bit more conscious and aware of the messages that they're sending their younger fan base when they engage in degenerate behaviors or, in my opinion, violent behavior like Travis Kelce did last night.
There's so much, if you would say, I mean, there's such I don't know, a tasteless aspect to everything that's on commercial television right now. I thought the halftime show, if you're talking about 12 to 14-year-old girls being a major portion of her audience, that bothers me greatly to see the way in which, I mean, they're all great talents, great dancers, great singers, but I mean, it was lurid. In point of fact, and I'm no prude, but I mean, that's not exactly family entertainment, in my opinion. What Kelce did certainly wasn't for family entertainment. And when I first saw your tweet, I thought, well, boy, that's quite an overreaction to that. And then I thought about it some more, and the more I saw the incident, I realized that he had put his hands on the coach, but I couldn't tell for sure whether or not he was just trying to hold him up after he jostled him. It was just, it's horrible behavior. And the Chiefs, in point of fact, there was it started, I think, because I followed football, the NFL particularly, when Patrick Mahomes threw his helmet down the first time he had cracked his helmet. He threw it down in disgust because he wanted to be back in the game. And the next thing you know, Kelce throws his helmet. And the next thing you know, the Chiefs are helmet throwers. Whether they intended or not, it turns out to be something of a herd mentality, and that extends to the audience watching at home on television. And yes, 12 to 14-year-old kids. Your point is well taken, is what I'm saying. So,
thank you.
Not knowing anything about football, I think you know a lot about.
Well,
people.
And then there was just kind of this irony as well. There was this irony because these people, they make political statements, which is why really I'm not a fan of the NFL or the Super Bowl for that matter, because it turns into a really big political statement and not in favor of the right. You see they completely bastardized our national anthem by playing what they called the Black national anthem, and then they're shocked when nobody wants to stand up. Travis Kelce has a history of kneeling during the actual national anthem, and then while all of these commercials are playing, all these different athletes, they have their sponsorship deals and they issue statements. And one of the deals that Kelce made, I suppose, was with Moms Demand Action, which is the gun control group. And you have Travis Kelce talking about how we need to implement gun control while he's putting his hands on an elderly man. And my message is, we have guns in this country so that women or the elderly or whoever wants to protect themselves can protect themselves from people like Travis Kelce when they engage in acts of physical violence. And of course, I'm not saying go shoot Travis Kelce, but there's a lot of women out there that find themselves in violent relationships and they've been killed by their partners who have become aggressive. And what kind of message is it sending to the young women and the young girls of America who are supposed to be idolizing Taylor Swift for dating this superstar football player when you see a very successful woman in a relationship with a man who doesn't think twice about physically jostling and putting his hands on an elderly man?
Yeah, in that relationship, I think it's pretty clear that Mr. Kelce is, if you will, not the dominant personality. I think she is extraordinarily a talented and powerful woman who is, I think, a great role model. in showing independence and power and creativity. I mean, she is a global, if not a galactic star, who is, I think, a terrific role model. And if you look at all of the people out there in show business and entertainment, but particularly music, I mean, she's a wholesome figure. She is also a very honest figure. And I have to say, I think she is a wonderful thing for young people in this country, a wonderful model. I'll put it that way. And to your point, yes, I think that also is a very big statement for young boys in this country, too.
I prefer that she have different political views. I mean, look, I think compared to a lot of other celebrities out there, she appears to be more wholesome. But, you know, we're witnessing the destruction of our nation. And, you know, she puts out one post on Instagram and 30,000 people go register to vote. Her lifestyle isn't going to change if somebody like Joe Biden gets reelected for another 4 years. She's still going to have her private jets and her, you know, her designer clothes and her fashion designers and her personal chefs and her multi-million-dollar mansions. The average person is struggling. And so, you know, I wish that these athletes and pop stars would stick to their day jobs and what they're good at doing, as opposed to trying to interfere in our political affairs, because they're not exactly political savants or the brightest people when it comes to political strategy. Everybody has their talents,
well,
right?
I've also noticed that the people who are involved in politics, the elected officials, are not the brightest of people either. So I don't know who I'd rather, I would prefer to prohibit from the public arena, whether it would be the actors, the entertainers, or the politicians themselves. I mean, when we watch what is happening in this country, I mean, I'm laughing out because because of the absurdity of it all. This administration is a complete and utter pretense that is shared by the national media, by the politicians themselves, and yet the American people, I think, are awakening. You get the last word here. Do you think America is awakening to the absurdity that is and the obscenity that is the Marxist Dems in this country, posing as the Democratic Party?
I think that now more than ever, we're at a life or death situation in this country. If President Trump doesn't get back into the White House for another 4 years, I do believe it's going to be the end of America as we know it, right? The end of the American empire. And so I think that a lot of people are starting to feel just how dire the situation is in this nation. But unfortunately, right, our media is still largely controlled by the Democrats and has a leftist tilt. We are living in a country where we still don't really have election integrity. Nothing's been done to address the voter fraud that we saw in 2020. And so we're really just hoping, right? We're taking a gamble on the fact that the American people have opened up and learned a lesson over these last 3 years, and that they realize that life 4 years ago was much better under President Trump than it is under somebody like Joe Biden. So I hope that people do get out to vote, and that they compare what their life was like 4 years ago, because unfortunately there are a lot of people that are not involved. They're not politically aware. They aren't paying attention to what's going on in the world. And it's kind of scary just when you see that there's so many apathetic people in this country who really don't seem to care.
Yeah, and it's horrifying to think that this generation, this country could squander everything that previous generations who fought for freedom, for our values, our heritage, would squander it away in the midst of this madness that is America right now. Laura, thanks so much for being with us as always. We appreciate it. I hope you'll come back soon. Laura Loomer, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Up next, tensions. Thank you very much, Laura. Coming up next, tensions continue to rise in the Middle East as the White House continues its leak operation and disinformation campaign against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It is not working. The IDF is winning, despite President Biden's objections and his direct orders to the contrary to Bibi Netanyahu. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow. Towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept. I'm interrupting this commercial to let you know you can get our 6-piece My Towels, regular $69.98, now only $29.98. Or you can save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels, made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Also, we have bath sheets, bath towels, washcloths, hand towels, and so much more. And the best part, with your promo code, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all My Towels. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your My Pillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our My Pillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all My Pillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
In a daring and complicated operation, Israeli special forces have rescued 2 hostages from Hamas in the Gaza border town of Rafah. The pair had been abducted on October 7th when terrorists murdered 1,200 people, the October 7th massacre, taking hundreds hostage in southern Israel. Have a look at this remarkable footage from the battlefield. This is great news, practically a miracle. In foreign policy, the president had actually cautioned Israel, not cautioned, he had truly, let's be honest, commanded Israel not to enter Rafah. Biden now has some considerable embarrassment, as is usual. It is one of his constant accomplices. It is also guaranteed to increase tension between him and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. In fact, Biden has been attacking Netanyahu behind the scenes for quite a while now. Sources telling NBC News that Biden considers Netanyahu to be an obstacle to a ceasefire. Biden has repeatedly called Netanyahu an a-hole, not to his face, of course. That wouldn't work out well. But more importantly, why should Israel be agreeing to a ceasefire with Hamas ever? It makes no sense at all from their national perspective, nor from any point of rationality. This war is about eliminating the terrorist threat of Hamas, tearing it out root and branch so there won't be an October 7th massacre in any month or day ever again. Men, women, children, babies, butchered like animals by Hamas barbarians. Whole Israeli villages ruined, drenched in blood and bullets by the remorseless Hamas monsters. So why is Biden so intent on appeasing these terrorists? Because Democrats are worried his foreign policy will sink Joe's domestic re-election prospects. And I don't think they're far from wrong. The Biden administration is quietly panicking over it all. CBS News, in fact, obtained a recording in which a top Biden aide privately apologized to Arab, American, and Muslim leaders in Michigan. Michigan, a key swing state, of course, a significant Arab and Muslim population. Biden's handling of the crisis in Gaza has caused his support among these communities to simply implode there. Last month, a poll by the Michigan-based Glenn Gariff Group had Donald Trump leading President Biden by 8 points among likely voters. 8 points. Biden needs every single vote he can get in order to beat Trump on November 5th. But to mend these fences within the Democratic coalition, Biden is forced to pivot harder toward a ceasefire that would benefit only Hamas and likely leave Israel vulnerable to further attack. Not likely, certainly. So Biden's sinking ship is now caught between the Great Lakes state and terrorists in Gaza. And joining us now to talk about all of this is Lee Smith. He's a journalist on locals and author of The Permanent Coup, How Enemies Foreign and Domestic Targeted the American President. And now Lee Smith. Lee, great to have you with us on Lou Dobbs Tonight. A lot of debate and discussion about Bibi Netanyahu, the state of Israel, and of course the Arab and Muslim states of the Middle East. The suggestion being, by some at least, that Bibi Netanyahu is risking rather than saving the state of Israel. Your thoughts?
No, I think that these operations are something that, that the state of Israel has to do, whether it was Netanyahu in charge or someone else. They'd have to do it because one of the things that we've often forgotten on October 7th or after October 7th, the October 7th massacre, is that hundreds of thousands of Israelis left the south of Israel and also left the north of Israel, where they're in firing range of Hezbollah. These people are terrified to live there until until Israeli leadership proves that they can be protected there. So this is important, and Netanyahu has said that he's gonna have to go as long as he needs to not only to stop the Hamas threat, but also to ensure that Israelis get to live in their entire country, because one of the things he cannot afford to do is let Iran-backed terror groups, Hamas and Hezbollah, slice the borders of the state of Israel.
And to me, it's an unimaginable conflict within Israel itself about the leadership of Benjamin Netanyahu. He is a man I think is a gift to Israel. His leadership is, to me, utterly essential, and I can't imagine any other leader being in the position he is, fighting against all forces that surround Israel and winning. I consider this winning, and I do believe that he will not in any way step aside from the moment until he has conquered those who would destroy Israel. Your thinking?
Well, I agree, Lou, and there's many problems with this prime minister. There's many problems with all of the leaders around the world, even with allied states like Israel. But one of the things I think it's important for people to understand is that the Biden administration, before this war, was very supportive of the opposite, was basically backing an operation to topple the Netanyahu government. And there was a lot of Israelis who were on board with that. Remember the number of protesters out in the streets, whether it was Tel Aviv, whether it was Jerusalem, all around the country. But since Israel has been at war, Netanyahu has managed not only the war, and it's not just Netanyahu, it's also some of the military leaders like Yoav Gallant, like Benny Gantz as well. So they've all done a terrific job. But I think especially for a country like Israel, where there is always a lot of argument, always a lot of debate, that right now it seems that Israelis are pretty unified behind Netanyahu because they understand what has to be done. That's something that all Israelis do agree on.
It is interesting to me that there is a great debate in the United States. This administration actually ordering Netanyahu not to go to the south of Gaza, not to dare carry out operations the size of which he has carried out and successfully, to stay away from Rafah, that just turns out to be where some hostages were and may still be. The ignorance, and I'm going to say it plainly, the ignorance of this administration and its national security team. I'm talking about Jake Sullivan. I'm talking about the Secretary of Defense, Blinken, the Secretary of State. This is outrageous what the impositions and the actual authoritarian directives that they have uttered toward Israel. And Lord only knows what they're saying in private to the Israelis, telling them what they can and can't do, what they must do. I've never seen the like of it.
Well, it's very interesting because you may remember, Lou, that that right around Christmas time, they were saying there was leaks coming out of the White House saying, well, we're going to give the Israelis basically until the end of the year, maybe a week into January, to mop up their operations, and that's it. And that's certainly not what's happened. So the Biden team has to be very delicate about this for a number of different reasons, because if the Biden team, including the president, we're going to make a whole bunch of noise about, oh no, the Israelis must stop, they can't do this. The Israelis are not going to stop, right? Part of the way that the United States projects power historically in the Middle East is through Israel. It is by telling Israel what to do, what Israel can expect from Washington, what Israel cannot expect. If people are to understand, which people do in the region now understand, the Biden administration has no control over the state, over Israeli operations. So Joe Biden and Anthony Blinken and Jake Sullivan have to be very careful, because they're on the verge of making Joe Biden look, Lou, if you can believe it, even weaker than he already is, this time projecting less power than ever in the Middle East. So that's something this White House has to look out for.
Yeah. You know, you use the expression, a projection of power. Theirs is a projection of weakness, in my opinion. It is a projection of confusion. It is a confusion that rises to consternation. These are people, these officials of the U.S. government, who have no business even being visitors in their various departments, whether it's state, the White House. My gosh, even a tour should not accept them. And yet here they are in, as you say, lofty positions of power, trying to project it and do nothing but trip over themselves, and really are risking the security of the United States in so doing. Your thoughts?
Oh, no, I mean, absolutely. Look, a coherent administration that understood American power, an administration that understood what was happening in the Middle East, would play it very quietly, and they would say, we too have an interest in you destroying Hamas. Now, you know, how can we help? What can we do? You have as much time as you want. You can do whatever you need, because it's not like the Saudis are breathing down our threats or the Emiratis are breathing down our threats. Hamas is an Iranian asset. All of our allies, our entire traditional Americans alliance structure needs to see the Iranians defeated. But of course, that's not the way the Biden team sees it, right? The Biden team, again, as Barack Obama did, sees Iran as a potential partner. So that's what's fundamentally wrong in terms of the strategic layout for this White House. But insofar as weakness, of course, I mean, they're taking marching orders from Iran, and that's of course why the responses in the Middle East to Iranian-backed terror outfits in Iraq and Syria have been so weak. The White House is leaving American troops out there basically as a security deposit for their future, their potential alliance with Iran. It's disgraceful.
It is disgraceful, as are all of the demonstrations in this country by those who, whether paid for or not, are pro-Iranian, pro-Palestinian, and clearly anti-Israel and anti-America. Lee, as always, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Please join us here tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central. Thank you, Lee. Florida Congressman Byron Donalds will be among our guests. Also, New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney and the author of China Going to War, Gordon Chang, joins us. The Lindell Report is next, and you never want to miss Mike. Good night. Thank you for being with us. God bless you.